So yeah, as I mentioned in the previous video, but I'll say it just again. That was the end of the tournament game cast with Latham, but he's come back to watch some ladder games.
Hey,
Here we've got Danimal on Magma, who was super high on the ladder. I think they're one of the people that made the S, is that right?
yeah, one of 6 people to make S rank.
Against YangGang, who's, I guess, a fan of a certain left-wing American politician.
YangGang is very, very good at this game. I hit them a few times on ladder, and yeah, they're excellent.
Nice, so this should be a good match.
Yeah. So this is, I think, already a very interesting choice. They could have played the Primus Fist on the center tile here, and it's kind of tricky because a lot of the positional tactics in Duelyst come down to wanting 2 of your units to occupy the same space, and you can't do that. So here, Danimal would have liked to use the General and the Young Silithar to trade into the Primus Fist, but of course they couldn't do that because they would both be on the center tile, so they're like blocking each other. So YangGang is positioning the Mystic that way, so that essentially they're sort of guaranteeing that they'll trade decently well against whatever Danimal does there, and also they're threatening to ramp to 5 here. So it's tricky because there are also merits to placing the Primus Fist on the center tile. You know, it's sort of complicated. Depends on exactly what cards you think your opponent has in your hand. But I think it's really cool that already there was that sort of very key decision to make.
Yeah, in general, I do quite like taking control of the center. I think it gives you like a lot of strategic options that you don't always appreciate, but they sort of fan out. However, in this case, like letting the Mystic be the one to trade into this young Silithar is immediately giving you some pretty nice value.
Yeah, I also do center, and it's like it is surprisingly important. How getting that extra one space can be a good thing. Eggmorph is really cool. That's a card that is kind of borderline for me when I play Magmar. I've been liking it a lot more recently. It's cool to see Danimal playing that.
Yeah, for me, it competes a little with Metamorphosis, which I think is pretty strong at the moment. However, it actually covers a lot of Magmar's single tile removal weakness.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, Metamorphosis definitely is the more powerful card. But sometimes I'll play Eggmorph like a 4th Metamorphosis, and sometimes just having it be 1 mana less expensive is fine. I mean, here YangGang is kind of getting beaten up. Their draws weren't really great, and Danimal had a lot of strong early game cards. But because we see this Dark Terminus in their hand, I mean, they're probably they're probably some serious late game deck, because Dark Terminus is sort of so slow, but sometimes you need to answer stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely creep. Not just the Abyss Scroll, we did actually see Shadow Nova get replaced away earlier as well.
Oh, yeah, and Dancing Blades, I mean, a lot of people will run Spirit Harvester in that slot. Spirit Harvester is an extremely powerful card, but here, Daniel's playing Dancing Blades stuff. This is some really interesting positioning, because YangGang could have played the Abyssal Crawler one above the Dancing Blades here. And then this is sort of that same thing that I mentioned earlier, that a lot of tactics in Duelyst come down to wanting 2 of your units to occupy the same space. So if YangGang places the Abyssal Crawler right above the Dancing Blades, that's like a really good Mecantor, right? It's hitting 3 things. But also then the Dancing Blades can't hit YangGang because because the Mecantor is there. But also this means that YangGang has their Abyssal Crawler die for free, whereas normally, if they get Mecantored here, then probably they're going to use the Abyssal Crawler to trade into the Mecantor that's left over. So that's a difficult choice to make, but it's an interesting difficult choice because it's one where you're sort of using the sort of tactical consideration to sort of determine how exactly you're going to play. Yeah, so here YangGang decides that they want the 2-1 around to finish off the Mecanter. But it also, sort of comes down to the same, because now, they took an extra hit from the Dancing Blades, but, now the Dancing Blades slower. It's really complicated.
Yeah, it's especially relevant here, given that they have this Spectral Revenant in hand. If the Dancing Blades was still a 4/6, it's a really premium target to send that Spectral Revenant into. So the way things worked out, it could just be they're taking an extra 4 damage by having to hit that themselves manually one more time.
Yeah.
So in a way, like, they were playing around this Mecanter, but actually the end situation's almost worse, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's Duelyst is such a difficult game, right? It's like there's so many things that came into that decision, and I think at some point you just have to go off of intuition. But yeah, certainly a full health Dancing Blades is maybe one of the single best things you can Revenant on curve. Like that's definitely the best target. So at this point, I think YangGang is going to want to start just playing their expensive 7 drops, because they're thinking, they've been getting sort of beaten up all game, and they've been getting beaten up because they're playing a deck that is kind of clunky early game, and it relies on having really powerful late game cards like Revenant Shadow Nova that will sort of just quickly start destroying all of the enemy's minions and start winning the game quickly while also doing face damage. So now they need to sort of act pretty quickly and use those powerful 7 drops to finish off the game. Here we see YangGang had some clever positioning with the Abyssal Crawler to get a free hit on the Soulfire. But it was tricky, because in doing that they left themselves open to Mecanter clearing the Spectral Revenant, and that's sort of one of the main things you want to avoid when you play Spectral Revenant, is having Mecanter Holy Immolation clear for free, because that's a really good clear. And this was here. It's the same thing where there's body blocking, but if Danimal has the 3rd Mecanter, that's pretty bad news.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. There's a lot of pressure being put on, and that means sometimes you can't afford these things. Looks like it's just going to be Vindicator lethal here.
So I really like playing Dancing Blades for specifically this reason in Magmar. Like, this combo of Vindicator Dancing Blades is really cool. So I mean, this was super close. I mean, Danimal was almost certainly going to lose next game, so really down to the wire there, and some cool tech that let him pull it out.